All right, welcome. We're just gonna wait one more minute while we wait for participants to join the room. Okay. Hello and welcome to this first presentation of ISPD, or International Space Pitch Day, powered by the Allied Defense Accelerator. My name is Van Espabodi, co-founder of Starburst, the world's first startup accelerator dedicated to the industry of aerospace and defense. I'm joined by my colleague, Brandon Florian, who will be co-moderating today's introduction and presentations for this new initiative. Our collaboration champions speaking today include Dr. Michael Callahan from UK's Defense Science and Technology Lab, Captain Jake Singleton from the US Air Force, and Ben Whittaker from UK's Defense and Security Accelerator. Together, this group has been working tirelessly across multiple organizations within the US Department of Defense, the United States Space Force, United States Air Force, Air Force Research Lab, UK's Ministry of Defense, the Royal Air Force, Defense Science and Technology Lab, and NATO, to identify challenge areas in space defense where innovators like you from around the world can help us solve. For those of you new to our networking community, it's important to understand the changing environment as private companies, commercial startups, and small businesses push the boundaries of technology and capabilities in space. Over the last few years, we have witnessed record investments totaling billions from private capital, with thousands of new businesses catalyzing innovation with an investment case to match. This ISPD initiative will focus on the partnership between the UK and the US. However, we hope to expand with more allied partners contracting with businesses like yours from anywhere in the world. This competition follows the many successes undertaken by both the US Department of Defense and the UK Ministry of Defense over the last couple of years to innovate how space defense procurement accelerates startup investment readiness and technology adoption, thanks to the incredible leadership of people like Air Vice Marshal Harp Smith, Assistant Secretary of the Air Force Dr. Will Roper, General John Raymond, General John Thompson, and many more. Our agenda, as you can see, begins with Dr. Callahan from DSTL for 10 minutes, followed by Captain Singleton from the US Air Force for another 10 minutes, followed by Ben Whittaker from DASA, who will highlight the competition process over 15 minutes, before we open up for questions from attendees we've budgeted around 20 minutes. With that, I'd like to invite Dr. Callahan to join us and unmute himself to get the show started.
Oh, hold on.
Mic check.
There we go. Yeah, it's all working. Thank you very much. And Van, thank you very much for pulling the event together today. I'm really excited to be here, actually, even be it virtually. The effort that it's taken to get this initiative up and running, to get things going over the last year or 2 years, really, leading to launching this today has been really significant. And you know, I kind of look back over the last couple of years about how we got here, and I think it's been quite an interesting journey to start trying to explore different ways in which we can reach out to different communities that we don't regularly work with, to start to look at how we can drive innovation into our process. Just a brief introduction to myself. Mike O'Callahan, I work for the Defense Science and Technology Laboratory. So that is the research arm of the Ministry of Defense. We're responsible as an organization for delivering the entirety of the MOD's research budget from our chief scientist, but we also work with a number of other organizations, both within UK government and also very much with our international partners. And space is just one of 25 research programs that we deliver on behalf of the Ministry of Defence, and that's the program that I'm responsible for. And I've been doing that since 2017, since April 2017. And actually, it was shortly after I took up the program that we started to think about how the different ways we could reach out to the space community. Our program's quite new, actually. We've had space program only really since 2015. We had quite a long gap of really investing in space R&D. So we're trying to think about ways of doing things differently. And I was reflecting the other day, one of those events that we just can't have at the moment during COVID, but I think are so valuable at the US Space Symposium, where I was introduced to Jake Singleton, who's been instrumental in pulling this accelerator together, and started to talk about how we could get someone like Jake with his talents over to the UK to start driving greater collaboration when it came to the startup community, came to reaching out to new space companies to inject new ways of doing things, new ways of thinking into our own programs. And that was in 2018, and it took just over a year to get Jake through a scheme that we run between the UK and the US government for the exchange of scientists and engineers, and get Jake over to the UK to support the space program at DSTL, and very much to pick up the mantle on driving forward new approaches to innovation. And aside from that, we're also looking at ways in the UK that already existed as well that we could reach out to startups, and we've been sponsoring Seraphim Space Camp for the last couple of years, and we saw some early success, some really early benefits of that partnership, that relationship with Seraphim, in terms of companies with VC investment coming out of Seraphim Space Camp who were then successful in bidding for defense funding through my program and through the Defense and Security Accelerator, and equally companies that we'd discovered in the defense community or we'd funded for early stage R&D, successfully getting VC investment down the line as well through Seraphim. So there's some real mutual benefit we started to see. And then we kind of asked ourselves the question about, how can we start to join up some of these initiatives with our allies and partners? And if you were on the webinar last week, the roundtable, you will have heard a lot about the importance of partnerships with international partners, with national industries, etc., especially amongst the Five Eyes community and other partners, NATO as well. And so really this International Space Pitch Day is just one of the first forays in trying to look at how we can better join up those pipelines between the US and the UK in this particular instance, but in the future, obviously, clearly interested in looking at how we expand that out. And I wouldn't say it's been an easy journey. I would have loved to have launched this earlier in the year, and there were a number of reasons, not just COVID, why that wasn't possible. So it's taken us a bit longer than we would have liked to get to this stage. But we've got this joint pipeline that we've put together where we can access technologies, globally with a focus on the US and the UK. And so that's really exciting. I'm really excited to see what's going to come out at the back end of this. And you're going to hear from Jake and the others in a minute about the particular challenge areas that we're interested in. But one of the key things for me as well is starting to use this as a new approach, a pipe cleaner, to understand how we can take new approaches to acquisition as well. So I come from the research community. We're not in the business of buying, the final military capability, the final products. That's other parts of the Ministry of Defence that have that responsibility for space. That sits within our Strategic Command and the Royal Air Force, with the Space Directorate providing a coherence function over the top of that from within our head office. So it's great that they're on board with this as well. So we've got our user community actively involved in this pipeline to look at how they can pull through some of those great ideas that come out the back end of the Space Pitch Day. And so we've got all the right people in the room. We've got all the right players on the UK side. We've got all the right players on the US side. And I think we're starting to pull those things together. So I really hope this is going to be an exciting thing to be involved in. I'm really interested to see which challenges are going to get addressed through the competition, and then leading up to the UK's Defence Space Conference in November, where we'll have the pitch day and we'll have the seniors there who will be judging it on the day. I think that's going to be a great event as well. I'm again really looking forward to see how it all plays out. So I'm not gonna talk for too much longer. I want to hand over to Jake now to get into a bit more of the detail about specifically the pitch day and how it's all going to work, and then over to DASA. So I'll sign off there. I'll hand over to Jake, and I'll be happy to take questions towards the end.
Thank you. I wasn't sure if Van was going to jump back in. Are you happy with me going?
You're good to go. Thank you, Jake.
Thanks, Van. Well, I'm absolutely just excited and thrilled to be here and to be introducing this program. We're going to be talking about exactly what it is, what our objectives are, what we hope to seek out of it, and hopefully give you some insight on why you might want to participate. We're going to be stepping through with our Defense and Security Accelerator, kind of the structure and how the program is going to work, what you can expect over the next several months. We'll have some time for Q&A to answer some questions on any of those pieces. But I want to start with a question of my own. I think we have a lot of companies tuning in live to learn more about this program from around the world. My primary question is, have you ever considered working with the US Air Force, the US Space Force, or the UK Ministry of Defense, one of these organizations who are leading organizations in developing and procuring and using space technology? Maybe you have, and do you understand, the process to work with us or how to do that? Maybe you've spent some time considering how to do it and it's looked impossible or too difficult. Our goal with this program is to increase cooperation among some of our partnering nations to bolster these transition opportunities from rising space companies from around the world. So what we want to do is we want to bring resources through you in partnership with Starburst and a lot of our frontline commands and defense partners to help you understand who we are as an organization, what our mission is, what our needs are, to help you understand what that transition path would look like. As a startup or a company, you really want to understand who your customer is and what their problems are, who the different stakeholders are, and the things that you need to do to successfully deliver those solutions. We want to make an effort to support you and bring resources to you to understand that. And again, these resources are going to be available for companies around the world to participate and to work with us. And then as we understand and define that process and that opportunity and what a transition would look like to successfully work with us, we also want to demonstrate that we can move at relevant speeds so that we can be responsive to your focus on the commercial market. So this whole program, as we bring you through these resources, help you understand your customers, their missions and needs, as we explore and validate the dual use nature of your technologies, meaning that it is a solution for a problem that we have, we're going to have that culminate in one of these pitch days where you can pitch your solution and you can walk away with a contract. I can't emphasize how exciting that is, because my background is active duty, US Air Force. I'm an acquisitions officer. So that's my job, that's my world, is to develop, research, but procure these new technologies. And sometimes that can be difficult. And even today, if you're a US company looking at working with defense and transitioning a solution to them, that can be a challenge. For a foreign company from anywhere else in the world, that can be near impossible. So we've thoughtfully built this program to bring in resources to maximize those opportunities and make it easier for you to work with us. I want to emphasize that we have had transformative changes within the US, but also within the UK and a lot of our partnering nations around the world within our defense organizations for the last couple of years to make us easier to work with, to make us more relevant and responsive. This is a first and an exciting opportunity to do that together in cooperation with each other and focus on that global marketplace. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm just going to highlight an overarching kind of structure to the program. And then our Defense and Security Accelerator partners, they're going to step you through some of the key points and milestones that you're going to need to be aware of. But here's the idea. We're going to start with curating problems. Now, I'll emphasize that this program is delivered jointly by the US and UK with several defense organizations in both countries. It's equitably funded, so we've got money coming in from both sides for companies participating in this program. But while it's jointly delivered by these two countries, it's open for everyone. So wherever you are in the world, if you have solutions that you're developing relevant to these problems, we're excited to have you involved, and we're excited to work directly with you. So we've started by curating some problems between end users and stakeholders within both countries. We're going to introduce these problems over the next couple weeks through webinars. Right now, we're looking to get everybody involved and everybody aware to scale this customer discovery process. So for new companies who don't understand who we are, you can join and you can hear directly from people that experience and are close to those problems what they are. You can ask questions to help refine, the solutions that you are proposing in. So then we've got these virtual webinars, and that's to really facilitate participation from around the world, as well as to get more participation from these end users and customers in the US and the UK. I'm really excited about this format because largely what we've traditionally done within defense is we've decided exactly what the solution to our problem is, and we've written those down in a kind of a strict set of requirements, and then we've paid people to go develop and build those for us. What we're really interested in today is the fact that a lot of you companies from around the world are developing exciting, leading edge technology for space independent of these government requirements. You're raising capital and you're pushing these solutions to the market. But a lot of these solutions are relevant to those needs that we have. So we're interested in what you're doing and introducing you to some of the problem sets that we have and helping you understand whether or not they fit. And if they do, well, why don't you, consider introducing us into your business model. And we've seen a lot of success in being a great customer to companies, getting to the market. So these webinars, you're going to hear from people close to the problems, giving you their perspective and experience. And that is just a wealth of knowledge and information that you'll be able to get out of those webinars. After that, we will, invite companies interested in proposing solutions to submit proposals, and DASA is going to talk a little bit about what that process looks like. Companies that submit desirable solutions that are technically feasible and responsive to those problem sets will be invited to pitch at this International Space Pitch Day in November. But in between that pitch day and that invitation, we're going to host additional design sprints where we bring in more of those resources that help those companies specifically understand what they can do on the investment side, on working with defense, as well as on the international kind of regulatory side, what they need to do to successfully get your solution to those end users. So that'll bring a lot of support to the companies there, realizing that's not always trivial. And then we'll have that pitch day where you will be able to pitch to a VIP panel of transatlantic military commanders what those solutions are. At this point, the customer, the problem, and the path to get there, and you get to pitch those solutions and walk away potentially with a contract from the US and UK at that pitch day. And we'll have additional webinars and workshops going on over the course of the next few months to help us reach those objectives. So very excited to answer some questions today and to have you guys tuning in over the next couple weeks on these first problem webinars introducing the challenges. Excited to see participation from all over, and hopefully to be working with more of you in the future. With that,
thank you, Jake.
I'll stop sharing and let us hand off to the next Thanks,
Wonderful,
Dan.
thank you. Yeah, that's really helpful. Ben, are you available to share your screen? Yeah, looking good. Mic check.
Brilliant. Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep, good to go. Thank you.
Let's just... Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. My name's Ben Whittaker from the Defence and Security Accelerator. I'm one of our innovation partners, which you can think of as a bit like a technology scout. So I get the exciting job of going out and talking to suppliers and innovators, predominantly within the UK, but also have a team focused around the rest of the world as well, engaging them and helping them work with defence and security. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Defence and Security Accelerator, just to put things in context, and then I'm going to get into some of the detail of the competition and some of the process that I think it's really important you understand to work through. So just a little bit of a background on the Defence and Security Accelerator and why we're involved. So this is our tagline here. We basically find and fund exploitable innovation to support UK defence and security. What that means is we are out there looking for the exciting innovations, the technologies that we think could offer a real benefit to UK defence and security, be that space focused or far more broadly. So as you can appreciate, our focus and our role very much aligns with what we're trying to do here with the Space Pitch Day. In terms of how we do this, practically, we're kind of that matchmaker between the organisations on the top there, so the parts of government, predominantly the UK Ministry of Defence, but also some of our other departments in the UK focused around security, such as our Home Office and our Department for Transport. And we're providing that link between those government organisations and the innovators, be those the small and medium-sized enterprises, be they academia or be they large suppliers. We're feeding the problems that come down from government to those innovators, and then we're helping feed those solutions back up. We do that across a number of, or in fact, I should say our scope is incredibly broad, right? We do that across a whole host of different levels of development, from very early stage technology through to proof of principle, through to demonstration in representative environments. We do that across a broad range of sciences, technologies and services. Obviously here today we're focusing on space, but our remit is far broader than just that overall. We work with anyone with a good idea, and I think that's really important here because yes, I'm talking to you from the UK about problem sets that are coming from the UK and the US, but as been said before, we are keen to engage innovators from around the world. And as I said previously, we do this, we're looking for these solutions for a whole host of defence and security users. We do this at scale. Obviously, the Space Pitch Day is one part of what we do, but just to get across the fact that we are a serious and credible organisation. We've been around now for 3.5 years. In that time, we've invested over £100 million sterling, so that's around £30 million per year, funding just shy of 700 projects with a whole range of different organisations. Practically, we run two kind of main avenues where suppliers can share their ideas with UK Defence and Security and with our US colleagues. We have these theme challenges. So these are specifically focused around set problems that someone within government or one of our allies has. We come out with that specific problem with a specific budget and we launch them regularly. And again, the Space Pitch Day that we're talking about today is a prime example of one of those theme challenges. And just for wider awareness, where ideas don't fit within the scope of those theme challenges, we also run an open call, which could absorb pretty much any idea of relevance to defence and security. So I guess you may be asking why you want to work with us. And there's a whole host of reasons, but I've drawn these 4 out here because I think these are particularly relevant to both DASA, but more importantly, the Space Pitch Day. So the first thing is this is a 100% funding opportunity. You do not need to bring match funding to play. And we're hoping that that will enable organisations that maybe don't traditionally work with defence or security to come and participate as part of this competition. They're benevolent terms and conditions. So we don't take any equity in your company. Similarly, we don't take ownership of any of the intellectual property. That stays with you. Throughout the process, and again, this is absolutely typical of this competition, you're going to get access to end users and technical advice. And at the end of it, we've got rapid contracting. And frankly, what could be more rapid than bringing you to a pitch day, letting you pitch, and where that's successful, you will be funded on the day. So that's enough, I guess, about the background of DASA. What I want to go into now is an overview of this specific competition. Now, there is a lot of detail here. I make no apologies for that, because I think it's really important we get some of this straight, because we don't want people being disappointed and missing out. So the first thing I want to say is, and to be clear, there are 3 broad steps to being successful through this competition, and suppliers will need to go through all of these. The first, and I think the easiest hurdle, is that there is a registration questionnaire. This is essential step. If you do not register initially for this questionnaire, provide us some initial background information, you'll not be able to proceed through the programme. That closes on the 9th of August, midday British summertime. And as I say, you must go through that process.
And just to confirm, you said 9th or 19th?
19th, sorry.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah. 19th. So, and then the second stage is we'll move to proposal submission and assessment. This will be done via the DASA website, and I'll provide some links to that later. And the submission date for that is the 2nd of September, again at midday British summertime. Proposals that come into that will be assessed, and then the viable ones will be brought forward to the pitch day, which will be 2 separate pitches on the 16th and 17th. And again, I'll go on a bit more detail about that in due course. So first of all, this accelerated program and the registration, as I said already, you must complete the registration questionnaire before submitting a proposal, so before moving on to the next stage. The link for this can be found in the competition document on our website. Equally, if you've got a phone to hand, you can scan that QR code there on the right, and that will take you straight to the form to fill that out now. Once you've done that, you can then start to, in fact, you can start to engage with these events prior to the registration, but I would encourage you to do them in parallel. As previously mentioned, there are then a number of webinars and events. So the first thing to highlight are these 6 challenge webinars. There are 6 challenges spread across a number of different webinars. The first one is after this event, and then we'll be doing 2 and 3, challenges 3 and 4, 2 and 3 as one webinar, challenges 4 and 5 as another, and then challenge 6 as a separate webinar. So again, you can sign up to those and join in to hear from end users about those problems. In addition, there'll be 2 investment readiness, transition confidence, and international adoption webinars. Now, these are focused on the different markets, the UK and the US market. And to be clear, these are how you will how to engage with those markets. So you may find, hopefully you'll find that you'll be interested in working with both of those markets, so you may wish to sign up to both of them. So the next stage, hopefully off the back of those webinars, you'll have an understanding about what the problem is, you'll have an understanding about what solution you think you can offer. The next stage then is to submit that idea formally via the DASA website. And again, that link there will take you to the page where you can register for an account to do so. As I've said before, you must have previously completed the registration process to be able to proceed with your submission. When you create that account, you can select the competition you're interested in, so the Space Pitch Day, and then you can select the challenge or challenges of the 6 that you're particularly interested in. As part of that application process or that submission process, you provide a brief abstract or summary of your idea, you provide some details of your innovation, and you provide financial and delivery details as well. And as a reminder, we're looking for projects that last up to 3 months and are up to £53,000 value, excluding VAT. As an indication, that's approximately equivalent to 67,000 US dollars, but we expect all proposals to be costed in pounds sterling. When you provided that information, you can review that and then submit it. Once you've submitted it, no further changes can be made. And as I said before, the deadline for that is the 2nd of September, again at midday British summertime. Once your idea has been submitted, it's then over to us and our experts to assess it. So these will be experts coming from across the UK and the US within the MOD and DoD. All proposals will be assigned a minimum of 3 experts, although potentially more will look through it. They will assess it. It will then progress through a moderation process to make sure we're being fair across all the proposals. And then off the back of that, we will decide who will be invited to the pitch day. And you will be notified of the results one way or another by the 21st of October. Suppliers that get through that process then have the opportunity to join us in a series of design sprints. There's going to be 2 in total, spanning a week each, and the dates are there online. These are going to be incredibly useful sessions. They're going to be hosted and run by Starburst, and really they're going to help you develop your idea, develop your pitch, and prepare you for that pitch day. So as it says there, there'll be design iterations with challenge end users, project sponsors, and industry members. So you can discuss your ideas with the key people that can help you shape them. And that will enable you to refine your solutions and make sure they are as relevant as possible to the defence mission. And obviously as well, there will be guidance on how you can prepare for your pitch, including elevator pitches, storytelling, and presentation refinement. So once you've gone through that process, that then brings you to the Space Pitch Day. Again, as a reminder, there will be 2 separate pitches. So the first, on the 16th of November, will be a private pitch to senior members of the UK MOD and the US DoD. Now, this is the one that really counts. This is the one that will enable us to make that decision as to who will be awarded funding. And as I say, that will be a private pitch. There will then be a second pitch that will be public with a far wider audience, including non-government attendees and media. And again, this is an opportunity for you to get your idea more widely known, get it in front of investors and other interested parties. So what I'm going to just now do is give you a little bit more guidance on the application process. And this was kind of that middle step. So that proposal that you've got to submit to DASA. There are 3 criteria by which we will assess your idea. I think it's important you understand these to make sure that you can address them in your proposal. So the first is around desirability. Put simply, we will look to see whether we think your idea solves a defence or security challenge. In this context, that is, do we think it addresses one or more of those 6 challenges that will be outlined in the webinars? Feasible. So do we think there's a reasonable chance of project success? And I do say reasonable here because we're not after 100% guarantee. We're looking to undertake innovative projects, and clearly there is an element of risk. But we want to understand that you're a credible organisation with credible skills, credible people, access to the sorts of facilities that are required, and indeed the motivation to make this a success. And as part of that, a feasibility assessment will also be looking at this and saying, is it an innovative idea? And then viability. So have you outlined a decent package of work? Are we clear what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, how that feeds in? And do we think it offers value for money? So a few other sort of top tips. Include a clear project plan, as I said before, showing the proposed stages of work, how they all link together. It's important also to consider your deliverables. So just a few ground rules. We don't do kick-off payments. So it's payment on completion of work. You can set milestones, and upon completion of those, we will pay. We'll pay a sort of milestone payment. So I guess that means that we can't pay for work in advance. And as a final ground rule, that final payment to DASA must be at least 20% of contract value. In terms of the length of the proposal, we recognise these are relatively short projects, relatively small pots of money. So for those of you that are familiar with DASA's normal process, typically we would say proposals should last 90 minutes. Because we are looking to run these projects quicker for lower values of money, we have shrunk that down accordingly. So your proposal should take our assessors around 45 minutes to read, understand and assess it. We don't put strict guidance on the length, but as a sort of rough guide, also we don't put strict limits on it, but as a rough guide, that's around sort of 6 pages or 3,000 words. The balance you've got to play is you equally need to provide enough technical detail so that our assessors can understand what your idea is and are confident that it's likely to succeed. So a final one, please do submit on time. I would encourage you not to wait to the last minute to submit, be that for the initial registration or be that for the submission of proposals on the 2nd of September. If there's a problem and you leave it to the last second, we won't be able to fix it. Similarly, if you miss that deadline for whatever reason, we are unable to do anything about it, I'm afraid. So please submit within plenty of time. Finally, I should say there's lots of guidance on our website. Again, you can follow this link to all of the details on the competition document. So read that competition. That is the ground truth around this project. Similarly, you can read the contract that we are proposing that you would sign. I would encourage you to do that early and check you're happy with it. There's a few contact details, some generic ones for DASA, and obviously there's a link to the International Space Pitch Day at the bottom. And that's me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. And thank you, Jake, and thank you, Mike. We did have one question come through. Ben, maybe this one's for you. The question's around the ability for companies to apply to more than one challenge. Is there so I think something we've addressed in the past was, yes, it's possible, but really just want to make sure people understand kind of the nuances of that.
Yeah, so I guess there's a couple of different ways of looking at. So it's possible that you may have a single innovation that addresses multiple challenges, in which case, great, that's, we get one free, pay for one, get two for the price of one. So if you've got a single innovation that addresses one or more of those challenges, brilliant, please do submit that. Similarly, you may have completely separate innovations, separate projects. Again, you can submit, there's nothing stopping you submitting multiple proposals for different projects that are standalone. So yeah, either way, we can accept that.
Thank you. All right. The next question relates to probably ourselves. It's a question of whether we can provide the slides. We will save these recordings and put them on the intlspacepitchday.com website. So you can rewatch the same slides that you saw today, available to you in this recording, which will be published shortly after on the INTL Space Pitch Day website that Ben just showed on his slide. So that link is available in the Q&A part of this Zoom, and we'll make sure that all attendees will have access to that afterwards. So thank you. The next question from Graham is the announcement of opportunity seems to state that you are looking to leverage commercial products for defense applications. Would MOD, DoD be interested in fully functional, comprehensive solutions based in part on data confederation, AI, machine learning, and advanced algorithms that are in daily use for over 4 years with one of the Five Eyes partners? Jake, maybe I'll hand this over to you.
Sure. Yeah, let me see if I can answer that one. So we're interested in a range of technology readiness levels. The attention is on things that are emerging independent of government requirements. The most value of this program is going to come to a company that's never worked with the defense in the US or UK or any of our Five Eyes partners, but are pushing things to the market. This creates an opportunity and a doorway to understand how to work with us, which can sometimes be very difficult. So if we're already working with, your company with your solution, then it's probably going to be less relevant. However, if you are developing new solutions, even if they're comprehensive, complete, and operational, and there is a way that we can, solve or address one of these shared challenges that the US and UK are interested together, then I'd say yes, we're interested. We want to understand that solution and how it solves our problem. And I think participating in this program is going to help connect you to the people that are close to and experiencing those problems that can provide feedback on their interest in how to get it. So I'd say yes, in general, emphasizing that, the target is companies that we are not currently working with, that have no idea to work with us, and we're going to bring a lot of tools and resources to help those companies.
Thank you, Jake. The next question, also maybe for you, is regarding TRL. People are asking about the stage of maturity of the tech readiness level. Do we need to get our solution up to a certain level in order to be valid for the delivery of the applications?
No, I'll let Ben correct me if there's any specific requirement with DASA, but this competition in general is not constrained to any particular TRL level. I think the target is mid to later TRLs that are maturing quickly based off of that market pull, and exploring how to understand and address our mission challenges with those. But no clear constraint on TRLs. What I will emphasize is we're not looking to seed and drive your innovation. So if you are looking to solve and produce a technology based off of that list of military requirements, there are a lot of other acquisitions and competitions that we run to find people to do that. We are primarily interested in you remaining market focused and becoming mission aware rather than mission focused and market aware, if that's helpful. So a range of TRLs emphasize, focusing on the commercial market and addressing those mission needs in parallel. We want these dual use technologies, not simply kind of military unique driven by requirements that we have. But Ben, would you comment further on TRL requirements for the DASA process?
Yeah, so Jake, I'm not going to contradict you at all. We don't put firm TRLs limits on this competition. I think from DASA's perspective, what we want to see is over the life of the project that you are developing your technology or innovation towards meeting these defense challenges, and at the end of it, you are demonstrating the efficacy of your technique. So naturally, we want to see sort of progression up those TRLs. And I guess a key point here is you could have an arguably quite mature technology that's being used in one sector, but for the defense application, we would judge it to be lower because it hasn't been demonstrated for our needs. So that could see you bring in a mature technology and, a mature technology that needs development for this specific set of challenges.
Yeah. So really, it's wide open. Submit your ideas and get involved. We're really excited. I think especially for foreign companies from around the world, right? This is your opportunity to directly work with us.
And we'll be sure to continue to update these questions on the frequently asked questions part of our website. So please make sure to keep referencing that. I think we'll have time for one last question. Ben, this one's for you. Where we might have two unrelated solutions to a single challenge, is that best submitted as two proposals or a combined one with options?
So I always have to have specific discussions around that, and I think it does depend a little bit on the detail. But my broad answer to that would be is if they are two completely different ideas that address different challenges and therefore kind of stand alone, you could do one or the other or both, is that you would be better off submitting those as two separate proposals. If you tie two very different ideas into one idea, or one proposal, and we actually only want to take one of those forward, it doesn't give us much freedom of maneuver. So my instinct is to say keep them separate. But as I say, you can use the DASA mailing list to ask specific questions, and we can have those conversations as well offline.
Wonderful. The last question is List X status required for companies?
So shall I answer that again? From a DASA perspective, we're doing the contracting. We don't place any specific requirements around List X status or such like. We don't anticipate projects being done at a classified level. And obviously the whole point of this is open to organisations that haven't necessarily worked with the MOD or the DOD before. So we're trying to keep the barrier to entry low. So no, List X is not required.
And final question. Maybe this one's for both of you and Jake. Once selected and delivered the project for 3 months, what do you foresee as the next step? What happens after this?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
So that's a fantastic question. One of our biggest concerns is that we work with companies and we discover and find these exciting solutions. And then somewhere along the way through that engagement, we fail to be able to adopt and start using those. So there are a lot of things that are involved by, from identifying and demonstrating that solution to being able to actually deliver it and have our end users solve it. This becomes more difficult when we're working with the international market with companies all over the world. So the first steps of this program and this 3-month effort is that you're going to have access to those end customers and those stakeholders and resources to help clarify and solidify what that transition path is. And now that's going to be unique in a case-by-case situation. For one company, they may be considering incorporating with a company in the UK. They may need to work with attorneys to understand the export control kind of license to, for their technology. So we're going to, and I appreciate this is not a perfectly clear answer, but it's because the answer really is on a case by case. So we're going to be working with companies in those 3-month awarded efforts that are successful at pitch day to take the next steps with the identified customers to transition those solutions. In a lot of cases, that's identifying the programs of record in either country or both, if there's any international agreements involved for cooperative procurement, and additional contracts, things like that. So it's a little bit nebulous where we have to kind of define what those are, but that is something that's part of the objective of those contract awards, is that we work with you to identify those next steps for your company with that proposed solution and with the customer that you've really successfully connected with.
Thank you, Jake. Ben, did you want to add anything, or you okay?
I'm going to give Jake top marks. I'm not sure I've got much to add to that.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, Jake. I think you covered it. I mean, we all know that the first step in all of this is to make sure that we match the solutions with the right programs, and I think that's really part of the objective here. So if you find a match, then the idea is that if they like what they see, then there's a great future here. With that, we're out of time. I just want to thank all of our participants. We will publish this recording online, as I mentioned. If you have any other questions, please email the link on the website, and we will make sure we follow up. There is the next webinar with the challenge owner, first challenge owner, starting in just over an hour. So we look forward to hearing from you there. And thank you to our speakers today, and we will follow up with you shortly. Thank you, everyone. Yeah.